This morning, legendary singer Gladys Knight's health is now taking center stage in a bitter family battle.
Everyone knows the Empress of Soul had a powerful voice that defined a generation. But what happens when the music fades and the spotlight dims? At 82, Gladys Knight's current reality is a stark contrast to her legendary past, and the reasons behind it are more complex and heartbreaking than you might think. What exactly went wrong? The secluded life in Canton. Fans believed that Gladys Knight was enjoying a peaceful retirement far away from the stress of music and Hollywood. However, the calm environment shattered when a dark family conflict spilled into the public eye. The real surprise came when her own son, Shanga Hankerson, took a drastic step that caught everyone off guard. He filed an official elder abuse and exploitation complaint with the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services. This action instantly turned internet rumors into a serious legal matter, making fans wonder what was truly happening behind the closed doors of Gladys's private estate. The details of the complaint paint a highly concerning picture of the singer's daily life. Shanga claims that his mother is dealing with noticeable memory loss and cognitive decline that puts her safety at risk. He shared a troubling story about a past New Year's Day when she allegedly failed to recognize him for 45 minutes. Shanga also shared another incident involving her becoming completely disoriented in a hotel lobby, unable to figure out where she was. According to her son, the ultimate problem lies with her younger husband, William McDowell. Shanga publicly accuses McDowell of taking advantage of her condition and forcing her to maintain a heavy nationwide performance schedule. He argues that this intense lifestyle is hurting her physical well-being, suggesting she is being used to keep money flowing rather than being allowed to rest. However, the Empress of Soul refused to let these heavy accusations define her narrative. She quickly pushed back against her son's claims by releasing a direct statement to People magazine to clear her name. Gladys reassured her global audience that she is entirely healthy and happy, explaining that her performances and health were being completely misrepresented by people who do not know her current life. Her team even pointed out that she had not spent meaningful time with her son in years, which makes his claims highly questionable. The public back and forth exposes the real tragedy, a bitter feud with her own son that money and fame could never protect her from. This rift pits a son's public accusations against a mother's flat denial, and the deeper the story goes, the less it seems to be about tour schedules at all. To fully understand how this family feud turned so toxic, we have to look back on a hidden addiction that nearly cost Gladys her entire fortune decades ago. The secret 10-year gamble for her soul. During the late 1970s and 1980s, the public saw a flawless superstar winning Grammy Awards and dominating the music charts alongside her group, the Pips. Fans across the globe watched her deliver deeply emotional performances, completely unaware that her most challenging performance was happening off the stage. Behind the scene, she was actually living a dangerous double life that she managed to keep totally secret from her loyal audience and top Motown executives. The very same voice that brought comfort to millions of households was hiding a heavy private burden that threatened to destroy everything she had worked so hard to build. Gladys Knight had developed a severe addiction to baccarat and sports betting, frequently escaping the immense pressures of her singing career by retreating into private VIP casino rooms late at night. These high-stakes environments became her temporary sanctuary, and they quickly turned into a financial trap. While her music was generating massive wealth through record sales and packed concerts, her secret habit was burning through her money. On multiple occasions, Gladys routinely lost up to $40,000 in a single night. She burned through millions of dollars in record royalties at the betting tables, only to put on a beautiful gown and smile flawlessly for television cameras the very next morning. But the turning point did not come from a sudden bank notice or a typical public scandal. Instead, it happened one morning when Gladys looked up from the card table and realized the sun was coming up. She had been gambling all night and was supposed to be at home getting her young son ready for school. In that instant, she realized Her addiction was getting in the way of being the mother she wanted to be. Determined to save her family and her sanity, Gladys sought out a lasting spiritual rescue. She took a major step by joining Gamblers Anonymous, relying on the support group to help her break the tight grip of the casino lifestyle. This difficult recovery process sparked a deep spiritual pivot that completely reshaped her daily life. Her journey eventually led her to a new faith, and in 1997, she was baptized into the LDS Church. Winning her financial freedom back from the casinos was a triumphant milestone that proved her strength. However, her hard-earned wealth would immediately be targeted by a string of toxic marriages that brought a whole new wave of chaos into her life. 4 marriages and $1 million kidnapping. Gladys' life was marked by a heavy pattern of romantic instability, and it began much earlier in her youth when she was only 16 years old. As of then, she married her high school sweetheart, an Atlanta musician named James Newman, right after dealing with a deeply painful miscarriage. The teenage couple went on to welcome 2 children together, James III and Kenya, while trying their best to build a stable household. Unfortunately, the intense pressure of the music industry, combined with personal struggles, proved too heavy for the relationship to survive. In no time, Newman developed a severe substance addiction that completely eroded their bond, eventually causing him to abandon the young family entirely before Gladys finally secured an official divorce years later. Hoping for a fresh start and a protective partner, the singer married ambitious record producer Barry Hankerson in 1974. For a brief moment, it seemed she had finally found someone who truly understood the unique demands of a high-profile entertainment career. Because it seemed good, the couple welcomed a son named Shanga, adding a new layer of joy to their busy household. However, the initial happiness quickly faded as the relationship deteriorated into an incredibly bitter divorce in 1979. This painful separation triggered an intense public custody war over their young son that pushed Gladys to her absolute emotional limits. The custody battle took an incredibly terrifying turn when young Shanga was completely hidden away during the legal dispute, abducted from his mother. Desperate to find her missing child, Gladys refused to back down or accept defeat, launching a massive multi-state search operation. She spent over $1 million of her personal wealth on specialized private investigators and elite legal teams to track him down and bring him home safely. This frightening kidnapping ordeal left deep, permanent scars on her heart, making her fiercely protective of her children for the rest of her life. Years after channeling most of her energy into her global music career, Gladys made headlines in 1995 when she married motivational speaker Les Brown, marking the beginning of a new chapter in her life. Fans assumed that a man famous for healing large audiences with his inspiring words would be the perfect partner to mend her remaining emotional wounds. Sadly, the high-profile union fell apart in 2 short years, proving that public speeches could not solve private marital problems. Ultimately, in 2001, the music icon decided to give romance one final chance when she married her current husband, William McDowell. Even though McDowell is 14 years younger than the singer, he managed to provide a highly secure and stable home environment that she had been missing for decades. This lasting partnership allowed her to experience true peace, even though it unintentionally created a massive emotional barrier between Gladys and her adult children. Because of this relationship, her kids felt increasingly pushed to the side as McDowell took full control of her personal affairs and business management. As Gladys spent a lifetime protecting her children from the predatory nature of show business, she was completely unaware that her own son would eventually drag her name into a federal crime scene. The chicken and waffles, betrayal, suing her own son. In 1997, what began with the best of intentions ended in a devastating family tragedy. During this time, Gladys wanted to give her son, Shanga Hankerson, an incredible opportunity to establish a highly successful business career outside of the music industry. So she willingly granted him permission to launch a brand new Southern-style restaurant franchise called Gladys Knight's Chicken and Waffles, based in Atlanta. To guarantee its ultimate commercial success, She allowed Shanga to freely use her iconic name, her valuable public likeness, and a massive collection of her personal performance costumes and classic music memorabilia to decorate the dining spaces. For nearly 2 decades, the business expanded to multiple busy locations, becoming a highly profitable and beloved community staple. However, the proud family venture came crashing down during the summer of 2016. Around this time, Georgia state revenue agents executed a dramatic unannounced raid on the restaurant locations, shutting down daily operations and sending shockwaves through the entire city of Atlanta. The subsequent federal and state investigations exposed a massive financial scheme managed entirely by Shanga behind his mother's back. Investigators discovered that he had willfully failed to remit almost $650,000 in payroll and state sales taxes. And rather than sending the tax money collected from employee paychecks to the proper government agencies, he diverted those crucial funds to support his own lavish lifestyle. The trusted name Gladys, spent 50 years building with clean, honest hard work, was suddenly plastered across national news channels alongside shocking mugshots and corporate fraud headlines. Now, to protect her pristine brand from total destruction, Gladys had to make an agonizing personal choice. She was forced to take the witness stand and sue her own son in federal court to regain control of her identity. It was a deeply painful legal battle that played out under the harsh glare of constant media scrutiny. She demanded the immediate removal of her name, her signature likeness, and her famous proprietary recipes from the corrupt enterprise. However, Shanga fiercely resisted the lawsuit, launching aggressive counterclaims stating that his elderly mother lacked the mental capacity to cancel their oral licensing agreement. But despite his hostile defense strategies, Gladys won the legal battle, completely stripping her name from the buildings right before the restaurants closed down permanently. This devastating legal war fractured their family dynamic beyond repair. The criminal consequences caught up with Shanga in late 2021 when a federal judge officially sentenced him to serve 2 years in prison. He was also ordered to pay more than $1 million in restitution to settle his severe tax crimes. After completing his prison term, Shanga harbored deep, toxic resentment over the entire public humiliation. He claimed his mother never would have taken her own flesh and blood to court, pointing a finger at her younger husband, William McDowell, for manipulating her choices. This lingering anger directly fueled the bitter retaliation that triggered his unexpected 2025 elder abuse filing against McDowell. But while the public focused entirely on the multi-million-dollar restaurant disaster, an infinitely deeper, silent grief was already tearing at Gladys's heart behind closed doors. The ultimate mother's grief. Now, to really understand the true emotional experience of the superstar, let's look past the courtroom battles and commercial headlines. In the summer of 1999, Gladys experienced a sudden, devastating tragedy that made all her previous financial struggles seem completely insignificant. Her oldest son and longtime career manager, James Gaston Newman III, affectionately known as Jimmy, passed away unexpectedly at the young age of 36. Jimmy was not merely an employee who handled her concert schedules, he was the primary guiding force in her daily life and the absolute anchor of her entire family. So, this sudden loss came as a horrific nightmare that completely altered her world. Jimmy was found dead in his Las Vegas home, with officials later determining that he died from natural causes. It could have been a sudden heart failure, who knows? For decades, he served as the ultimate protector of both her business assets and her emotional well-being, successfully navigating the tricky waters of the music industry to ensure his mother was never exploited. He was also the deeply spiritual soul who had guided Gladys toward a major transformation in her personal faith, introducing her to the religious community that gave her peace. His unexpected passing left her feeling entirely untethered, suddenly robbed of the one person she trusted above everyone else to look out for her best interests. The immediate aftermath of this family nightmare highlighted the brutal reality of a legendary entertainment career. When the tragic news broke, Gladys was in the middle of an East Coast concert tour, performing for a packed house in Delaware. While she managed to cancel a few immediate dates to return home and bury her firstborn child, the corporate machinery of show business did not stop moving. Bound by a relentless touring contract with massive financial penalties for non-performance, the grief-stricken mother was forced to return to the stage only days after the funeral. She had to stand under the bright stage lights and sing her most famous love songs through a haze of raw tears, putting on a brave face because a breach of contract lawsuit would have completely ruined her financially. Rather than letting the crushing weight of depression defeat her, Gladys turned her immense sorrow into a creative and spiritual shield. She threw her entire energy into gospel music, establishing and directing the Saints Unified Voices Choir as a literal survival mechanism to keep her mind focused on healing. This unique musical project allowed her to channel her private agony into a powerful, positive outlet that connected deeply with audiences around the world. Looking at her life through this lens completely reframes the sensational rumors surrounding her today. The true, enduring sadness in Gladys Knight's life is not a lack of current material comfort or recent family arguments over her estate. It is the permanent, quiet agony of outliving her eldest child, while the world constantly demands she keep smiling for the cameras. To seek an escape from these compounding tragedies, Gladys built a heavily fortified sanctuary far away from the noises of Hollywood. The 2026 tour strategy: autonomy or control. Her search for peace led her to Fairview, North Carolina, a serene town where she built a massive estate tucked away in the mountains. Living behind the gates of this quiet country home might look like the final chapter of a peaceful retirement, wrapped up safely from the public eye. However, at 82 years old, the legendary singer refuses to slow down, continuing a highly demanding nationwide touring pace throughout 2026. Her current schedule features highly anticipated co-headlining dates alongside her longtime musical friend, Smokey Robinson, at the historic Hollywood Bowl. For any ordinary individual of her age, this rigorous type of cross-country travel would be completely exhausting. Yet, she happily continues to step out under the bright stage lights to deliver her classic rhythm and blues hits to thousands of adoring fans. This remarkably active lifestyle serves as clear evidence that her deep passion for live performance remains every bit as strong as it was decades ago. To keep up with this exceptionally rigorous schedule, her production team utilizes smart behind-the-scenes adjustments to protect her aging voice. Audiences who watch her modern live performances closely will notice a strategic reliance on scrolling teleprompters to keep the lyrics perfectly on track throughout the night. Furthermore, the modern musical arrangements feature incredibly rich background vocal support and extended instrumental segments. This specific arrangement allows the iconic singer to rest comfortably between her verses without interrupting the energy of the concert. And also, these clever vocal techniques ensure she can deliver an exceptional show for her audience without placing unnecessary strain on her throat. When the curtains finally close and the applause fades away, Gladys Knight escapes the grueling travel by returning to a multi-million-dollar haven in Fairview, North Carolina. This massive, highly secure residential estate doubles as a community center and is completely managed by her husband, William McDowell. The beautiful mountain property offers total isolation from public scrutiny, acting as a peaceful fortress where she can safely rest and recharge. However, McDowell's absolute control over her daily environment is exactly what makes her remaining children highly suspicious. They view the remote mountain estate as a gilded cage that intentionally keeps them disconnected from their mother, while her protective husband maintains that the intense security is absolutely necessary to safeguard her physical health and emotional peace of mind. Gladys Knight remains a fiercely independent matriarch who is currently caught in a bitter family tug-of-war between two opposing sides. On one side of this conflict is a son who believes she should finally step away from show business to protect her aging body. On the other side is a dedicated husband who believes her rightful place is still under the global spotlight, sharing her iconic gift with the world. But no matter which side wins this family debate, the choice ultimately belongs to the singer herself. Throughout her incredible journey, Gladys has faced down every major obstacle with unshakable strength, from hidden personal struggles to the deepest heartbreak a parent can endure. She continues to sing because the stage is where she has always found her ultimate healing, proving that her spirit cannot be broken by family drama or sensational internet headlines. Seeing her still command the spotlight after all these years, what is your absolute favorite song or memory of the Empress of Soul? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Be sure to like, share, and hit the subscribe button. For more content like this, tap on the next video on your screen.